Hello everyone, this is Douglas E. Welch and welcome back to this very special episode of Minefull. We're going to call this Minefull Gone Technical because we are talking here with our buddy whose handle is Sam Jack Blade, but his actual name is George. Hi George, how you doing?
Hey Douglas, how you doing?
Pretty good. Now, I must say, I've been playing Minecraft for a while, but I was rather surprised when I saw that you had actually put up your own server, and we got to talking about it, and I realized this was for a very specific reason, and that's what we're going to talk about. Because I know as a Minecraft player, while Minecraft has some built-in stats available to it through the client, there are some of us who would like a little more information about our world that we're living in and what's going on in that world. And you've actually taken on a little project, I guess a self-education project, regarding some new software that I'll let you describe. But go ahead and tell us why you set up your server and what you're doing with it.
Wait! I just realized I put on my suit for the interview here.
Oh, there you go. Okay, now you look much more professional there.
And then I've got my notes right here too.
Okay. Perfect. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I've actually been sort of a closet Minecraft live play video fan. You know, the hard day work. I work in information security. And so, you deal with all sorts of crazy stuff all day long. And when I go home, I just want to veg out. So originally found Paul Soares Jr., and then through him found all the Minecraft guys, so Generic B and B-Dubs and all that, and I watch all their videos.
Yeah, that's what got me. My son introduced me to the Minecraft group, and that's what started my whole journey down the rabbit hole.
Right. So the main focus of my particular area of information security, because you can imagine it's a pretty wide field. It's not just, make the computer secure. There's the guys that break into stuff, and and literally you can spend all your available free time just keeping up educational wise in your given area. So my area is more the defender side, specifically log collection and analysis. And I'd always toyed with the idea of, could I take real world security data and map it into Minecraft? But that's a bit complex. I never really went that route. But over the holidays, I decided, hey, I want to play with taking logs from Minecraft and looking at them, because I use a product called Splunk, and that is Splunk. It's a commercial product. There is a free level version that you can play with and stuff that would probably work for someone in their home or something like that, or a small Minecraft server. And basically, this product is what I work at a university. We take in all our, intrusion logs, all our server logs, everyone logging into the VPN, all this kind of stuff. And we look for, trends of bad things happening. And Splunk can basically eat any textual information. And so
okay.
Right. So that's pretty much what logs are, just a bunch of text, right? Writing down what everybody's doing. And so at the Splunk user conference in Vegas every year, they set up a little gaming room. And then this year they had a Minecraft server set up online, and of course a whole room full of computers. So if you want to take a break from the conference, you could go on there and go play some Minecraft on that server. And it would then catch it into what they call a Splunk app, which is basically, it gives you nice, pretty dashboards, and it collects the data and breaks it out into graphs and all this. So they made the Splunk app for Minecraft that they debuted at the thing. And now it was an enthusiast thing written by some of the Splunk employees. And I wanted to play with it. So over the holiday, I said, hey, I'll figure out this Minecraft stuff, because other than watching videos, in playing a little bit, I'd not done a lot with it. So I set up a Bukkit server. I found that the plugin that Splunk requires, that Splunk wrote to work with it, is not kept up with the version of Java. So I had to find an alternative method, and I found this blog post by this guy named Robert, which if you go to my blog, which is georgestarcher.com.
Go ahead and type that into the chat there. We'll get that in the video. There it is.
Right there in the probably you'll see a blog post by the time, no telling when you watch this video, but there'll be a fairly recent one about Minecraft and Splunk, and you can read that post, and it details everything about what I went through to set up the server, and actually get the logs. Now, it's obviously written towards people that are somewhat familiar with Splunk. I did it as a learning exercise because in Splunk, you get these raw logs, which, oh, by the way, I think you have some slides there for me, don't you?
I'll roll those in post production, but yeah,
Okay.
I'll have some, so you can describe the stuff and then I'll add it in here later in
All
the video.
right. So in slide 1, which Douglas should edit in now, is just a makeshift dashboard I did that takes those raw logs and it shows me who's actively logged in the server, how many people there are, how many people have been logged in the past 24 hours. That's unique people. And then it shows me their total time played. Now, and that's in a pie chart. Now, Splunk is meant to be interactive, so these screenshots don't really help you because you can't make the percentages show up in the pie chart. You have to mouse over them and stuff. But you can see which users have spent the most time since I turned on this server. And then I can even show where they're logging in from based on their IP address that they signed into the server from.
Now, I must say, on the Minecraft side of this as a player, I started looking at these charts and going, oh, that's cool. I broke X amount of blocks of this. I did this. It really gives you some detailed stats on what your character is doing, what you're doing in game on the server. So I, as a tech geek and as a Minecraft geek and as a life logger, it really touched a nerve with me when I saw what you were doing. It was very cool.
Right. So the second slide will show you basically what the logs look like that this plugin called Player Logger that I ended up having to use, which is what this guy Robert blogged about. But when he blogged about it, he didn't actually cover for the Splunk people how to set it up. He just showed some pretty dashboards he made, and he said, use this plugin. You're done. And I wanted to be a little bit more technical for sort of people who are getting started in Splunk, IT type people, because there are a lot of IT people who play Minecraft. But you can see, you take this raw data that's just a bunch of text, and you turned it into like that dashboard that we saw.
Now, I will say, this gives me a chance to bring up the fact that, of course, as you may have seen on my video here, guys, I went /help, and you can see that this is not vanilla Minecraft. This is running the Bukkit server, which is an alternative Minecraft server. And one of the things, of course, that Bukkit provides you is the ability to have server-level plugins. And that's what this Player Logger plugin is. Is that correct, George?
Yes, that is correct. Because being part of it was a learning curve for me, right? I'd never really run a Minecraft server. I had no idea how plugins worked. I just had to Google it, look into it. I looked at Robert's blog post. He mentioned Bukkit, so I just went with that. Now, I didn't really install anything other than your base Bukkit recommended plugins to prevent abuse, the Player Logger, and that's pretty much it. I didn't install any other mods because I'm a big vanilla fan too, so I wanted to keep it as close to vanilla as possible.
No feed the beast here, huh?
Yeah, no feed the beast. I might watch the Minecraft guys play that, but I just cannot keep track of all that.
It seems way too technical for as geeky as this podcast is going to be. That feed the beast just struck me as being just uber geeky. It was just so complicated.
Yeah, it is just crazy. So in the next slide, you were talking about this would be slide 3, shows where Douglas, since the server has started, I threw in a pie chart of the top 10 blocks that he's broken. And you can see his leading one is long grass at 297 of those, 282 stone.
I was getting the farm set up. I had to get seeds. We didn't have a lot of food when we first started. That's typical.
That was the top block. But in Splunk, because Splunk gives you all these statistical functions, then I'm able to then go to where did it go? Slide 4. I then show over time when Douglas broke blocks, period.
Well, no,
I put it in a bar chart so that you can see that he spent a lot of his time breaking blocks back on Sunday, December 29th. And instead of,
I was headed I was headed right down here. That's where I was going. I was going straight down to diamond level. That's where I was headed.
You dug our first mine.
There you go.
Right. And then you can see Douglas has kind of been off and on just a little bit ever since, breaking a few blocks. And then the last one here, you can see that just to see by time what kind of blocks that he broke over time. I made what's called a stacked column chart, and that basically gives you a column for that. The entire thing is as high as the total number of blocks, but it makes a different color for each of the different block types up to approximately its level number of blocks. So you can see how much of it was stone and how much of it was grass and dirt and all that, all in one single column over time.
So that's
and
like,
a
little picture of my day. A little picture of my day on the server.
Yeah. So, and then you can see on like Friday, January 3rd, all that Douglas did is dropped a few stone blocks, probably, plugged a hole in the floor or something like that.
Well, everyone else is. Oh, look, friend at the door. You'll have to wait. I'm sorry. We're doing an interview. Leave us alone. The thing that struck me, well, first of all, when we got on the server, you've added some people as well, and they just went crazy with providing everything. So that's why I haven't had to do a lot. I've been kind of wandering around and stuff like that. Something that just struck me as I was looking at this last chart was, God, you could almost like do a little news report on your server at the end of each day, saying,
as a matter of fact, I went on, I Googled and Googled, and it's amazing considering Paul Soares Jr. is an IT guy, is an independent contractor. I could not find his email address, which is kind of scary because, I'm a security guy. You'd think I would have found it faster than I did.
He's too busy.
yeah, I guess. I just figured I'd find his business page or something, but granted, I didn't look super hard. I just went into Facebook and then emailed him, messaged him through Facebook and said, "Hey, I know you don't know me, but, I'm another IT guy, I do security, blah, blah, blah." I said, it would be really cool to see these stats for the Mindcrack server, and Pyro could then integrate some of this information into the daily, they have that sort of broadcast studio that they built for interviews.
Very cool.
And he could incorporate it into that. Or at the end of the season, they could, cover it. And, JB broke this many blocks and this many emeralds and that sort of thing. Now, you're limited to what the plugin logs, but the plugin logs all the login and out activity. It logs, what blocks were broken, what were placed. So you can find out about that. Like, I had a few people, like you said, join the server.
Now I've done something on the server today. There we go.
There you go. You generated data for me. Thank you.
There you go. It's more data for you to play with, and then we'll even place it back. Okay, there you go.
There you go. But I told them, they're like, "Well, can we grief?" I'm like, "Well, you could, because this is a test server, whatever, but some guys have already spent several hours doing things. You don't want to wreck it. But then if you do, I have the logs that will prove it was you, and it gives X, Y, Z coordinates within Minecraft. So, like, I stumbled into a mine shaft. I fell into it. Literally had no idea where I was. I didn't think to screenshot it at the time. Finally, just got fed up because I had to go out to dinner stuff. So I was tired of finding my way out. So I just did a /home and teleported out. And later I was trying to tell one of the other guys where this thing was. And we went and tried to find it. And I'm like, I know it's around it. Wait a minute. What am I thinking? I'm like the log guy. So I jump in the log and I look for where George broke, railroad track.
Oh, how cheaty.
Mine track, right? and where I broke some of the tracks, it was the exact, in the logs, there's the XYZ. I said, here are the coordinates. Here.
Can you do any mapping? Can you do like trails of where people have been and stuff like that?
The built-in mapping in Splunk is based on IP address, so I can show where people log in from. I would have to build something, find a way to build some sort of mapping based on the coordinates.
Yeah, like you could say you were able to find those coordinates, so it seems like, well, you're
the coordinates are all there. I mean, it gives, the logs tell you exactly where someone was when they said something,
Oh, that's cute.
They broke a block.
You could do a playback of the data. I'm such a
data
geek.
There are, I have a friend that runs a Minecraft server called Mookcraft, something like that. And he has, one of these plugins so that there's a web page you can go to. So when I first went into his server, I jumped on the web page to see where everybody was and what part of the world had been developed. And I just headed off in a different direction because you can literally see the live map on the web page. So there are already plugins out there that'll do some of that. But within Splunk itself, I would have to build it. But if you look at my blog and I guess you could edit this in, but you can see that when you look at that blog post, if you'll scroll down to Well, first I want to cover date and timestamp and logs. Most things do not log in the standard timestamp format that was settled on way back in 1998. It's really infuriating to IT guys like me when, every piece of IT gear we deal with writes timestamps in a different format. So I had to edit I'm sorry?
Well, wonderful thing about standards is there are so many to choose from.
Yes, that's true, right? But if you go down to step 4, where I was talking about the props and transforms, this is basically where I'm turning all that plain text that you saw the login into fields. And once you have things into fields, like the field user, and that's where everybody's name shows up every time I want. So if I want to search, I can then just do search user equal Douglas Welch or Sam Jack Blade or anything like that, and find just the log events that were that. And then I can make things graph by counting on blocks, that they broke during that time period. And so this is where I did. And the key to dealing with these kind of logs that are what we called unstructured data or semi-structured data, where there's a pattern in the logs, but it's not well defined. There's not like a header file that says this column is always where the block name is, or it's not block equal this in the text, so I can auto extract it. I have to use what's called regular expressions, and even experienced IT guys. Basically regular expression is the magic of the IT world.
Yeah.
Especially
very powerful,
logs,
but
logs and forensics.
Very difficult to understand, I find.
Yeah, to understand, I've gotten pretty darn good at it in the past year, but there's even stuff that I look at and I go, what does that even do? I can't even begin to follow it. But you can see here that this is basically, it's a text matching language, in essence, is what it is. And then you use that to pull out, hey, that's a block name. That's the coordinates. Let me break the coordinates out to X, Y, Z. In case I just wanted to search, literally, I could search on every event that occurred with this particular X coordinate or this X and Y or just this Z, in this level of the server. I could find, or I could do a statistics count on diamonds and what coordinate ranges they were found in, and make a table of that. And you could
let's walk out. It's daytime. I was waiting for the rain to stop too, but let's walk outside and just take a look around while we talk here, just to show people what we got going on.
Yeah, this is just a little test server. So, here's all the spy chickens.
Spy chickens. Paul, I think is just inserted that into the whole Minecraft mythology.
Yes,
I see.
Definitely.
Jack's Claw from our server up there has built his little sky den up there above spawn, and I will say the Bukkit commands of /home certainly make it easier to get home up there. I hate going up water columns myself.
Yeah, and I went up there too, and I pressed the little button to drop the waterfall down so I could get down, and I missed it slightly and literally fell all that way and landed just on the lip of the pool that's at the bottom and died horribly.
Oh yeah, I've done that. So now let me ask you then. So you're collecting all this data. So Minecraft with this Bukkit server and the player logger is a huge resource for collecting huge chunks of data that you can then play around with. How does this integrate with the rest of your career and the rest of the work that you do?
Well, for Splunk, the key is knowing how to take in raw logs because you encounter stuff that is in all sorts of crazy formats. It's never the same, ever, right? So this was a good thing. And given I do security work, I can't really take examples to teach others from what I do for work and share it. That's confidential information, that sort of thing. So the Minecraft data is a very, public-friendly sort of data set that it's definitely, the logs are coming in. They look kind of weird, but they're close enough to structured that someone can follow along. And Splunk has what they call the common information model. So what you're doing is, and most of us these days are familiar with tagging, right? We all do hashtag this and tag our photos with this person's name and location and all that. So what you do is you take all these raw events and you say, hey, where the event action is a login and is a success, tag it as authentication and success. That way, when I go to search, and if you look at my blog post, you'll see the searches are actually very easy to follow because I've already done the trouble to pull things out and tag all those raw entries with those tags. So now all I have to do are just search on tags to get the results I want. So basically, you're taking machine data that could be in any sort of format. Your knowledge expert or manager, whatever you want to call it, someone like me, then brings it into this tagging nomenclature into a language that's easy to remember, so that where I saved the data, what I called the bucket I saved it in, and all that stuff. The person searching the data doesn't have to know that. They just go, I want tag equal Minecraft, and action equal action equal broken everywhere that a block was broken, and give me all those results.
Wow.
And so you abstract out all this crazy looking machine, hard to read, hard to follow stuff into simple words that anyone can work with. And that's what that whole model is. So, and a lot of people new to Splunk sort of have a tough time getting their head around that. They just want to do all these raw, complicated searches, trying to find what they want, and it just gets confusing.
Right.
And they're really hurting themselves over the long term. So I wanted to make this tutorial. I wanted to get in some practice of my own, and and put that out there just for fun. So that's what I did. But it would just be just crazy phenomenal to see some of this data from like the Minecraft guys after a full season. Or imagine a UHC season, and they could see.
The one thing I wish I'd love to see about UHC is actually an edited down version of it, where you cut, like you would do a regular TV show, where you'd cut between the different angles, and when something was happening, and simultaneous stuff and stuff like that. But there has been someone in the past that's actually tried to lay out maps of where people were on UHC to show how close they were to one another and stuff like that. And I think that would just be phenomenal. That would
you could probably use this data to do that in some way.
That'd be
you might have to write some sort of function that you use to say how close the XYZ coordinates. You could probably Google something, right, that says here's the distance between two XYZ coordinates, and give me when these guys are within a certain range, right?
That would be so cool.
But you can do that. That's the great thing about Splunk is it's very dynamic, and you can do it on the fly once you know how to work in it. And the other thing that would be cool is now that they have that Minecraft Play server,
right,
the live plug server with all these mini games.
Yeah.
Imagine all the logs that thing would generate.
Oh, there's thousands of people in there at once. I was down
there
last night.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like 2,500 people in there.
And you could find your griefers real quick too.
Well, I think everything here is in venture mode, so I think they're okay with griefer stuff. But it would be amazing just to collect that. Now, the one thing that really intrigued us is your project here kind of ticked all my little blogging boxes, if you will. First of all, there's a Minecraft element, which of course, hey, another server I can go play on.
Sure.
And then there was the whole IT side, computer side, geeky side of
run away, sun's coming down.
Oh, sun's going down. Yeah, let's go back inside. But that triggered the geeky side of it, and then the career side of this also. For those of you who don't know, I also do a regular career column called Career Opportunities. It's a podcast as well since 2004, and from a career side, the whole concept being self-educated, taking on a project like this that allows you to learn more about something you want to learn more about, being autodidactic or self-teaching, self-learning. Your project just kind of ticked all the little boxes for me on that, so I wanted to make sure that I talked to you, because I think for the Minecrafters out there, this could be a really cool thing for them, and I think it can affect their life in general too. You can go into their career and everything else that they're working on. So I do want to thank you, George, for inviting us over to your server today and explaining a little bit about Splunk. It sounds like a tremendously oh God, I can't even come up with the words. It is an amazing
piece of software. It is basically your own personal Google for IT and computer information and logs. Yeah. To give you an example, actually, I was they do these little thing called Splunk Lives all over the country in the U.S. and where they have customers come in and talk about it. So I was one of 3 customers that spoke last year at the one in Atlanta. The other 2 customers were HCA Hospital out of Nashville, and then Home Depot. And the guy from Home Depot, they use Splunk not so much for their traditional IT security side, is all their inventory and web management type applications. So when Katrina hit, They were a Splunk user, and they were able to use Splunk to literally throw up dashboards up on walls on big screens to show what stores had what inventories, what stores were still offline and they couldn't reach them or didn't have computer access to and inventory access to, what was needed where. So they were able to throw up a war room with this tool, and all their information data from all their internal company applications and all their inventory data, so that they could do a much better job and very quickly of getting all the materials for rebuilding that people at Katrina needed.
Man.
And it was really an impressive presentation about how they did it. So even like in my case, so since, Splunk is a web app, right? You interact with it as a user through the web browser. Over the holiday, I had that little Splunk dashboard up on my laptop in Chrome, and then I used a little Chromecast stick hooked to my 42-inch TV, and I was sending the dashboard over to my 42-inch TV. If you kill me, it'll be in the logs. I'll know who did it.
You will know who did it. I got it. Minecraft CSI. I love it.
People lie, but people try to lie, but logs don't.
Logs do not lie. That's right.
But so anyway, so if you're in IT, it is. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Splunk is probably they are one of the few IT products that I have seen in years, like over 10, if not longer, where the customers love it so much. I mean, there's a group of us that sit in the IRC channel for Splunk. Mm-hmm. We don't work for Splunk, but we answer and support people who come in just because we have that much fun with it.
That's a sign of a great product. I mean, that really is. When the users are as excited about using it as the people who develop it, that is definitely a good sign.
So this is probably going to be the next, Google, Microsoft, and data and searching and all that. So if you're an IT person and you kind of like defending systems and you like sort of the forensics aspects and stuff, it's really a cool thing to do it. If you're into business intelligence and you're a business person, it's still a cool tool because it can handle any text information. They don't have to be computer logs per se. They could be all sorts of crazy.
Well, for all the data geeks out there, I think this has been a very enlightening interview. Thanks again, George. If you want to use Splunk with Minecraft or want to use it with any other log files you got, as I said before, I think this touches all aspects of all the different blogs that I do. For more information about George, they can go over to georgestarcher.com. You'll find the blog post over there and lots of other great computer and security information. Thanks again, George. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Douglas. See you.